What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma if you're new here, and I love to talk about all things Peloton cycling and fitness, so be sure to subscribe. I post every single Sunday. I am finally back in San Francisco where I actually live, and that is great because that means I have access to a bike again. I have the Echelon Smart Connect bike and I really love taking Peloton classes on it. So I thought I'd just jump right into this video, start riding again, and review the Beatles and Peloton collaboration that was released on Christmas Day. I feel like this was kind of a surprise collaboration, like no one really knew it was coming and then it just dropped. I grew up listening to the Beatles, my parents love them, so I feel like I know a lot of their songs. I think that all of the instructors are like British instructors, which makes sense. There are 5 classes in the Beatles and Peloton collaboration. There are 2 cycling rides, a run on the treadmill, a strength class, and yoga. And I thought that I would try doing the tread class on my bike too. I've read a little bit about people doing that. I don't know how successful it'll be. So basically when they say to like go up a hill, you just up resistance, and like sprint, you make your cadence faster. It should be able to translate over pretty well. And I've been kind of interested in this for a while just to have like more instructors to take, because I think there's a lot of cool tread instructors that I just can't take it all. So I thought that I would try that out and give you my thoughts on that, if it's worth it to do the tread or if I should just stick to the cycling. But I'm gonna do that another day. Today I'm going to start with just the 30-minute The Beatles Ride Volume 1 taught by Leanne Hainsby. I haven't taken a ton of classes from her, but I haven't had like any issues with the ones I have taken, so I think it will be a good ride. And she's just playing a ton of Beatles hits, like She Loves You, Can't Buy Me Love, I Want to Hold Your Hand. I mean, the Beatles have so many songs that everybody knows, so you think that all of these rides are just going to be jam-packed with hits and songs that we know. So I'm going to go ride and then I will give you my thoughts afterwards. I just finished the Beatles ride. The vibes were great. You could tell that Leanne was very passionate about the Beatles, that she liked them a lot, and she really just had great energy, and then like all of the songs I knew, so it was just super fun. I am going to go take a shower and then I'll be back with some more thoughts. It's now a little bit later. I showered because I was very sweaty, but overall I really enjoyed the ride. It was definitely not a super hard ride. She was definitely more focused on the music, but I kind of agree with that for like artist series in general. If you're taking an artist series, you're probably more focused on having like a fun ride rather than PRing. Something I didn't think about before this ride is that the Beatles songs are actually really short. They're only like 2 to 3 minutes each. So we just banged through like 11 or 12 songs in that 30-minute ride, which was fun that it just kept switching and you got to listen to all these different songs, and it ended on Yellow Submarine, which is always a fun song. I was just jamming out through it and it was just a really good time in general. I also really like artist series rides just because the instructors seem so much more passionate about it. You could tell Leanne really liked the Beatles, and that like just shows through with her enthusiasm on the ride. I'd give this a 10 out of 10 and I'm excited to try the next ride tomorrow. It is now the next day and I'm ready for the next cycling class. So this one is the 45-minute Beatles Ride Volume 2, and it's by Dennis Morton. I haven't taken a ton of classes from him, but I have liked what I've taken, and I found that he's harder than Leanne, so I'm curious to see if this class is harder. Again, just a lot of really great songs. A Little Help from My Friends, Get Back, Obla Di, Obla Da, I really like that song. And it doesn't look like there's any repeats from yesterday, which is just crazy when you think about how much music the Beatles have and how they can just create all of this content with new music. So I'm very excited to give this a try, and let's just get on in with it. Also, what do you think of this matching set? I'm very torn. I don't know. Okay, that was a crazy intense ride. I'm like dripping sweat. I actually like that ride a lot more than yesterday, but I think it depends on what you want. If you want like a chill ride and just appreciate the music, I would go with Leanne's ride. But if you want like to push yourself super hard while also listening to some Beatles music, I'd go with Dennis's ride. I really appreciated that he timed a lot of his music so the pushes would be when the chorus was going and it was like really amped up. I would say this was mostly a climb ride, but he did throw in some significant sprints. So it really just kept you on your toes. Again, he was very passionate about the Beatles. He talked about all of his favorite songs. It ended with Let It Be, which I feel like was also a really good song to end on. It was just like, yeah, this ride is over. let it be. But overall, I really like that ride from Dennis. I do remember before that he was really good about timing music, so now I kind of want to take more rides with him because I really did think that added to the ride just a ton and it made it super fun and super interesting, and the 45 minutes passed so quickly. I will say the warm-up was hard. Like, we started the warm-up and I'm like, oh my gosh, this ride is really gonna kick my butt. But I really did enjoy the ride and I'm excited to continue all the Beatles classes tomorrow. It's now the next day and I'm going to do the 20-minute strength class, and then I'm going to try to do the tread class on the bike. So we'll see how that goes, but first I'm going to start with the strength class. So it's by Ben Aldis, who's one of my faves, so I'm excited. I've never taken a strength class from him before, so I am interested, and it is body weight, which makes me a little bit nervous. I actually find classes with weights to be easier because I feel like with body weight, I don't know, you just like do a lot of push-ups and I'm not a huge fan, but we'll see. The music again, a bunch of hits. There is some overlap with the cycling classes, but it kind of makes sense at this point that there has to be music overlap. But I do see some new songs, so we'll see how it goes and I'll report back. Okay, that was actually a little bit easier than I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be really hard for some reason, but I guess since it's artist series, it is a little bit easier. At the beginning, he's like, oh, like grab your kids, grab your parents, like anyone can do this. I don't know if I'd say anyone can do it, but it's definitely was pretty introductory, and there's a lot of modifications that he gave that you could take. And I didn't take a lot of those, and I don't consider myself super strong, so I would say that it's pretty good for a beginner, even though it is tagged as an intermediate workout. I think the modifications could make it beginner. Lots of squats, lots of lunges, lots of jumping. I'm sweaty. It was a good workout, no complaints. My legs are definitely gonna hurt tomorrow because whenever I do like any sort of squatting, my legs just hurt. But the music was really good. It ended with Here Comes the Sun. I feel like the ending songs have really been on point with this whole collection. So now I'm gonna go take the tread class on the bicycle, and I really don't have a plan for this. I couldn't find a lot on the internet. Basically, my plan is when they have incline, I'll add resistance, and when they add speed, I'll add speed, and we'll see how this goes. I think I'll figure it out as I go and see like if this is a reasonable thing to do or if I'll be completely lost. But I'm excited to try out a new instructor. Her name is Bex Gentry, and it's the 45-minute The Beatles run. There's only one. And again, they just have a lot of songs and new songs. I don't think they've played Love Me Do yet. They play Help in like every single one now, but Help is a good song. I Want to Hold Your Hand. Again, really good music, and I feel like all the instructors are so passionate. Like, they all say the Beatles are their favorite band. I don't know if that's true, but it is exciting, and like you can tell that they're really happy teaching classes to that music, so then it just makes me hype. So time to get on the bike. Overall, I think that was a really good run/ride. I have a couple things to note. I don't know if it's just because it was a music ride. I've never done a run before, but I thought that they would call out more strict numbers, like, oh, go like 5 speed or 6 speed, when Bex was more like, oh, find, a running pace and then add on top of that. So then I thought that it was kind of hard to figure out like how fast to go at those base paces, which I think if I took more tread classes on the bike, I'd figure that out. On this class, if she said jog, I would go around 80. If she said run, I would do 100. And then if she did sprint, I would try to do 110 to 120 cadence, which I feel like went pretty well, but sometimes she would say like run, and then she'd keep saying add 0.1. And every time that she said add 0.1 speed, I would try to increase my cadence by like 2 to 3. And sometimes it would like top out because I can't go faster than 120. So then in that case, if she kept saying add, I would just add resistance. And it was like still a good workout, and I burned about as many calories as I do on the bike. So it is equivalent to a bike workout, but it was definitely like less direction compared to the bike where they tell you very specifically what to do. And then also it was something I didn't think of, but since it is a tread and it is a run class, I did a lot more speed work than resistance. Like basically I had no time where I was doing like super heavy resistance with low cadence. I was mostly doing like medium resistance with high cadence, which I actually kind of like just to mix up because it's not something I would normally do. And then along with that, there was like no out of the saddle work, right? Because she's never gonna be like, oh, come out of the saddle because she's on a treadmill. So then I just like didn't think about it until like probably the last 5 minutes of the class, and I'm like, wow, my butt is super sore and my legs kind of feel cramped because I just keep sprinting without any out of the saddle work. So if I took a tread class on the bike again, I would definitely incorporate more out of the saddle work. There are like rest times, but it's basically like, oh, like a really light jog or a walk with no incline, and at that point I would just kind of do like 80 cadence with a really low resistance, so only like 25-30 resistance. But for the actual content, I really liked it. I'm a sucker when instructors do things like in collaboration with the music. So she's like, oh, like every time you hear the Beatles say a certain word, like add a point. And I love that. I find that so like motivating and engaging, and it like really hypes me up for the workout. So she did a lot of that. You could tell that she was a really huge fan. She had a lot of stories about like her parents and just like England in general. Growing up with like her parents loving the Beatles, I just think that that is always really cool. So overall, I would definitely try more tread classes on the bike, but it would have to be like an instructor I was really excited about or music that I was really excited about. I wouldn't just like randomly pick a tread class over a cycling class. But that's it for today, and I'll see you tomorrow when I do my last class, which is 60-minute yoga. I've never done 60-minute yoga, so we'll see how that goes. It's now the next day, it's Saturday, last day of doing the Beatles classes. I usually wake up early and do my workouts before I start work. So it was super nice today. I slept in, ate some lunch, it's now like noon, and I'm ready to do my 60-minute yoga class. So today's class is 60 minutes, the Beatles 2-for-1 yoga, and it's taught by Kristen and Ross. I think that I've really liked Ross in the past for yoga, if I remember correctly. I've never done a 2-for-1 yoga class, so interested to see what that's like. I haven't done a lot of 2-for-1 content on Peloton in general, but I did do a 2-for-1 ride for Beyonce and Peloton's collaboration, and that was a really fun ride. So I'm excited. I've also never done a 60-minute yoga class, I think. That's pretty long, so we'll see how this goes. And you need a yoga mat, yoga blocks, and it says you need yoga blanket, but usually I kind of just like get away without that. And the music at this point, pretty standard. Here Comes the Sun, We Can Work It Out. Lots of songs from their #1 album, which makes sense. And yeah, I think it will just be a good time, so let me just get on in with it. That class went a lot better than I thought it would be. First off, I was a little nervous about it being 60 minutes, just because that is a very long class to take, especially for yoga, I feel like. But I really enjoyed it. It didn't drag on. I was worried that in the middle of it, I would just be like, when is this over? We did 5 minutes of warm-up, 7 minutes of sun salutations, 25 minutes of yoga flow, 22 minutes of final poses, and 1 minute of savasana, which is like when you lay. I don't know if I pronounced that right. I thought that during the yoga flow, I could keep up with it, which was good. There were some points where they were like throwing themselves up and not doing handstands, but like only being on their hands and like balancing their feet like on their bodies, and that was not for me. But besides that, like I could keep up with it, and they'd always like give modifications of like different things you could do, so I really appreciated that, and I feel like it's like a good class for probably like beginner to intermediate. Slash, like you could make it harder for yourself and do like the handstands with them. During the yoga flow though, I could not listen to the music at all. Like all that Beatles music was just lost on me because I had to focus on like everything they were saying or I was gonna miss something, because it just moves so quickly during yoga flow. Like they're calling out poses and I just like can't focus on anything except for like what they are saying. So the music was lost on me for that. But then like for the final poses, it was really nice because it's stretching, it's a little more chill, things are a little slower so you can hear the music. They told a bunch of like funny stories about the Beatles and like seemed really happy to be teaching the class, always a plus, and like their stories were cute. I will say, I think that Peloton gives them like fun facts to say during the class, because I'm pretty sure in at least 3 classes for Eleanor Rigsby, like when they sing the lyrics Father McKenzie, they're like, oh, that was supposed to be like Father McCartney, like Paul McCartney's dad, but then they like removed it at the last second. And like that has been a fact in at least 3 of the classes, maybe more. So I'm just like, maybe that's like the best Beatles fun fact, so they just all share it. But I do think it's interesting how like some of it is a little bit repetitive, but I still think it's worth taking if you like the Beatles. If you want to take a longer yoga class and don't really know where to start, I would definitely recommend this one for beginners. I think it's very accessible. Overall, I really liked all of the Beatles classes. I really like when they do like these artist series where they release a bunch of different class types for one artist. I know they do that like sometimes, but not all the time. I know, for example, Ben Aldis just released like a Calvin Harris artist ride, but then it's like that's the only like Calvin Harris artist series like content on Peloton. There's no like yoga class or anything, which I definitely see like they can't do it for every single artist because they release these all the time, but I like when they take the time out for like big artists and release big chunks of classes. My dream artist series would be Blink-182. I absolutely just love Blink-182, like all their music from like the 2000s, not really like their music now. And I know that that is such a stretch, like I don't think they'll ever do that, but if they ever did that, that would be my peak. Taylor Swift would also be cool. I don't know if that could ever happen. I feel like she's really big and there's probably demand for it. So we'll see. Let me know if you guys have any like artist series you would like to see. We can manifest it. 2021, your manifestation. All right, well, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I hope you learned something, and this is your sign to go take all of the Beatles classes on Peloton. I hope you guys are staying safe, having an awesome week, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!